we are taking our show outdoors. We are at the iconic Runyon Canyon here this morning. I'm hiking with some friends that are joining us today. But I think we may be missing somebody.
Okay.
Hey!
Hello, little one.
Yes.
Okay, so
Miss Tina Lifford. Thank you so much for
pleasure.
joining us.
Happy to be here, Lita. Hey, everybody.
So we're just going to take this hike. We want to talk about a whole bunch of things and really what you've got going on. So let's get into it. Ladies, you ready?
Love it.
Let's go. Let's go.
And a hike for me would not be a hike without my trusty stick.
The 15-year-old stick.
My 15-year-old stick.
Now, Miss Tina Lifford, this is very common. This is something that you do on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
For your physical fitness.
For my, actually, it serves a dual purpose. Physical fitness, but this mountain is also where I get an enormous amount of inspiration. So if I'm writing, whether it's a book or a screenplay, when I come out here, before my hike is over, I will have had some moment that expands me or titillates my brain in a way that serves my creative process. So I depend upon the mountain for the outside and the inside.
Beautifully said. Now, speaking of which, I know you have been on a book tour.
I have
The
been.
Little Book of Big Lies.
A journey into inner fitness. Yes.
Perfect. And we definitely want to dive into that. Speaking about inner fitness, now our audience and my background is really about physical fitness and how we change our physical form. And so I found the Little Book of Big Lies super interesting because it's now something that I'm super motivated about encouraging and acknowledging that there is a spiritual side to us, a more inner fitness, in your words,
Yes.
that really needs to be revealed,
Yes.
to be understood, so we
Be
can
acknowledged.
and acknowledged.
Acknowledged.
Could you speak on how you define inner fitness in your own words?
Absolutely. So my definition of inner fitness is being fit on the inside. So that means building mental, emotional, and spiritual skills and practices, that help resolve unresolved feelings, build inner strength and resilience so that you can thrive and not just survive in your life.
Beautiful. Now you say practices and you emphasize that. Can you give us an example of how one would practice inner fitness?
I emphasize practice because when we think about physical fitness, right? You can't just think about physical fitness and get strong, right? You actually have to exercise in order to get strong. You have to take physical exercises and apply them to your life. Well, when it comes to strengthening yourself on the inside, building inner resilience and grit, you have to practice principles that actually, when you apply them to your life, build that inner resilience, build that inner strength, and leave you with skill sets that help you to, resolve difficult moments and navigate your life.
Yeah, beautiful. How do you personally go about your practices for inner fitness?
Okay, so great question. And I start first just by acknowledging that there is a self that needs to be addressed.
Yes.
So often people look in the mirror and they see themselves as the image that they see in the mirror. We're more than that. And we have to start to think about ourselves in a more 360 way. If we're just the image in the mirror, then of course we're only going to be focused on the physical part of ourselves. But if we understand that inside of us houses and nurtures all the things that we really want. It houses and nurtures our sense of possibility. Think possibility. It houses and nurtures our greater idea of ourselves. it houses and nurtures that inner strength and resilience that, I love the saying that there's a part of us that has never been hurt, harmed, or endangered. It is through a expanded sense of ourselves that we can actually meet up with the part of ourselves that has never been hurt, never been harmed, and never feels in danger. So, acknowledging that self exists. And then the next step is, okay, so if in fact this self exists, how do I get to know that self? And then that curiosity is gold.
Gotcha.
Because the moment you start wanting to know how to get to know yourself,
Yes. I think the idea of self-love is somehow swirled into that, because recognizing self-love, first and foremost, I find that, and very sadly, lots of people lack true unconditional self-love for themselves.
Yeah.
And when people see what they think is ideal or perfection about one's life, they start thinking, oh, you're so lucky. But really, I've always said there's no luck about it. This is acknowledging that I've done the work. And self-love is the foundation about that. So going back to what you said earlier, you speak, and the little book of big lies in itself, the title, what is the lie?
So, the core lie. The core lie is that the image we see in the mirror is all that we are. That's the core lie. And from that lie, there's a zillion of other lies. The lie that you're not good enough. The lie that some teacher or some familiar experience or some person said something or did something to you, and it separated you from your sense of innate worth, your sense of innate wholeness. Whatever that event was, it happened in your life, but it's a lie in terms of who it told you you were. If it leaves you feeling less than, not good enough, separated from yourself, or disconnected from your sense of what's possible for your life, it's a lie. And what we have to do is to take our power back from those lies so that regardless of the circumstances, you can, through your innate wholeness and your connection with yourself and the kinds of practices that come with building your relationship with yourself, you can win. You can grow and expand beyond circumstances.
Beautiful. Awesome. Now, the book itself, you are 20 years deep vet in the film industry, a working actress on a season 5 of Queen Sugar.
Yeah.
As Aunt Vi.
Yeah.
Why now? Why now with the little book of big lies? What's your intention? What was your why now? Why write it? What's it for? Who's it for?
Yeah. Great questions. So one of the mistakes that we make in life is thinking that we know how it's supposed to unfold. And because we think we know how it's supposed to unfold, we get caught judging how it unfolds. Because if it doesn't unfold the way I got it in my mind, then most people call that a problem.
Got you. Now,
right?
Just support it. Is that the go to school, get good grades, find the love of your life, marry, have kids?
All of it.
All of that. Okay.
All of it.
Cool.
Yeah. And so if you have decided that this is how life works, then anything that happens outside of that is a disappointment, a problem. Something's wrong. And I talk about something's wrong and against me being a way in which most people sort of see life. So I actually wrote The Little Book of Big Lies. It took me 5 years to write it, hardest thing I have ever done in my life, because it was writing me, right? It knew what was necessary in order for every page to resonate. And every page resonates because that was the intention. So I wrote this book and I self-published it in 2012.
Okay.
Didn't know a thing about marketing, so not very many people read it. Even though there were, close to I think it was 60 reviews, all of which were really good, up on Amazon. But in June of 2018, I opened my email box, and an editor from HarperCollins was in my email box telling me that a friend of theirs who had gone through a very difficult time was actually, had sent me had sent him my book because the book helped her. And he was going through a very difficult time. And she sent it to him, and it helped him. And because both of those people got such a immediate relief from The Little Book of Big Lies, he shared it with his team at HarperCollins.
Wow.
And now I have a 2-book deal.
That's awesome.
So who's to say how it's supposed to work? Right?
Is there something that comes to mind as we talk about surrendering and trust that perhaps you can speak on?
Yes, from The Little Book of Big Lies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that one of my favorite statements in the book came from me learning to let go of any shame or idea of needing to feel embarrassed about anything. And what I mean by that is, I used to care about what people thought. I used to care about not just perceptions of others, but my own judgment and perception of events or things. And then I learned this. No matter what your thing is, no matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter the worst thing that you can even imagine that has ever happened to another human being, it has happened to tens of thousands of people. So when you recognize that your thing that you're holding so close, that you're judging, that you've got shame around, has happened to tens of thousands of people, even hundreds of thousands of people, then what you're looking at is something that represents a social reality, not a personal reality. And when you recognize that it is a social reflection, then shame and secrecy are unnecessary and unhelpful. Because the more we shine the light on the social experience, the more we can clean up the social experience. But when the light is held as this personal shame in the darkness, then it just deteriorates the self. And there's no light to actually help mankind.
All right. That's deep.
That is very
Love
deep.
that? Yeah.
Everybody said that's deep.
Yeah. Exactly. And it actually reminds me of something that you said. that we're all very much connected. We're all very much the same, but just on the outside maybe look different, have different experiences. But truly the foundations of what we're going through obviously have happened hundreds of thousands of times to many people. So it's almost like kind of like, I don't know, it sort of downplaying it and looking at the bigger picture as it being something that's very common. Like we've all gone through heartbreak, but yet when we're going through it, it's the worst thing in the world. And I've definitely been a victim of that myself, where I thought my life had ended because someone broke my heart. And essentially, if not hundreds of thousands, millions of people have gone through this. So when you think of it like that, it's like, get your act together. There's bigger things happening at play in the world. It's okay.
And not only is it okay, I'm going to reframe what you just said. I believe you said, that I even had the experience, that life was this horrible thing because someone broke my heart. But what if what broke your heart was your expectation, your limitation, your relationship with yourself that met up with your criteria, your rules, your, again, expectation that met up with a reality that wasn't within your box.
Absolutely. As you say that, every single word makes sense. It was my expectation of that person and not the responsibility on myself to love myself. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
You see? And that's a really different way of navigating life. And if you want to talk about self-love, right? Then what we're talking about is how do we truly come to see the boxes that we're putting ourselves in, make ourselves accountable to those boxes, right? And then navigate our lives with a level of care for that inner self that is the best we can do in this moment. You know how much freedom that gives ourselves and other people?
Yeah.
And it's not like we, now go around and look for people who are going to break our hearts. No, we're just aware.
Yeah.
Of how we're setting ourselves up. And then we get to keep asking the question. And so is there a broader way for me to see myself? Is there a larger context for loving and being in relationship? And when you meet people and experiences that violate what you know is necessary for your self-care,
It's fine.
love you,
Right.
don't want to be you, don't want to be with you, bye.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
That's beautiful. And I think, with that said, it's kind of like we can throw ourselves into a little physical fitness after all this inner fitness talk, right? This is something I do. Everybody's looking at me like, what you got going on? And like, look at all this space. So I figured, what if we utilize a bit of the concrete? And so we're not getting too dirty. We're gonna stay on 2 feet, ladies. I love to train lower body. I'm not gonna throw kettlebells at your head and tell you to squat with them. But I figured we could get a little bit of blood flow happening through our lower half by doing a little workout together. Everybody follow my lead. What we're gonna do first is just run a little forward, few steps, right? Come into a body squat for 3, right? 3, then run back. From here, another body squat for 3, 2, 1. We're gonna do high knees forward. Body squats for 3, 2, 1. High knees back. Okay, from here, starting with your right leg, you're gonna lunge to the right. Now, lunge to the left. Repeat, lunge to the right. Lunge to the left. Right, left. Now we're gonna do a little bit more intense here. We're gonna jump up at angel to off the ground, right? Be here. At any point you need to take a break, just come into a nice little squat, just like this, right? If you need to, let's kick. Perfect. All right. Here we go. All right, guys, as these ladies continue to work out here at Runyon, I have done some things in the LA area that have totally thrown me off my comfort zone. So let's take a look. Hey guys, it's your girl Lita Lewis. I'm here today at Aerial Fitness in Los Angeles. I'll be taking Lindsay's class, Aerial Foundation, a beginner class for something that involves this here.
Okay, well welcome. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you for
I'm
having
excited to have you here. This will be nice and relaxing for the lower back. Stretch out that spine. Just taking a couple swings here, left and right. Pressing down in your silk, take a big inhale. On your exhale, we'll fold forward. We'll place those hands down on the mat. From here, we'll straddle out those legs really wide. Perfect. From here, bend into those knees and wrap those feet around the silk. And then perfect.
Oh, Lord.
Yes. Hold on tight, so it shouldn't move. You'll lean back and then you'll shoot your toes all the way up to the ceiling. Yes, good.
Oh my God.
This is better than Six Flags, she's right. Yeah, you gotta split your legs.
Split?
One leg in front, one leg behind.
Oh, do I want to do that?
Yes.
All right, as long as my boobs are out. Please, dude. Oh, this is fun.
You're free flying now.
The best part so far.
Good, I feel like a lot of people feel that way as well.
I like this.
Good.
Marie, you gotta get this picture. I gotta show my mom. I hate being upside down, but this is
Moms
fun.
love going upside down. Moms are always
Wow.
Now let's reach those toes. That dynamic movement. Yes, we're close. Ooh, we're close. Okay, good. All right, so 2 for 1 motion. We're gonna pull up. At the same time we pull up, we're gonna try to kick those legs out nice and wide. So we wanna be here. Yeah, baby triangle.
Oh my gosh. Wait. I don't know, I envisioned a lot more like swing and fun and fairy music or something. But this has become a real workout.
And then from here, this is the pretty stuff that you probably thought about. You're like,
Oh, wait, I thought this was the pretty stuff.
Yes, this is pretty.
I'm out of breath. Miss Tina Lifford, you mentioned a bunch of personal stories.
Yeah.
At the end of your book, you share a really personal story.
Yes.
Regarding a former German boyfriend.
German, yes.
That was a traumatic experience for you. However, in that experience, you found a way to connect with your infinite self.
Yes.
So, can you speak about that experience and how you got to that place?
Yes. Well, I first have to just adjust what you said slightly.
Okay.
And that is an inner fitness skill, to listen and then make sure that the person that you're speaking with, that you both are on the same page. So you referenced that last story, which really is the whole point of the book. You referenced it as traumatic.
Okay.
Right? And what is more accurate is that it wasn't traumatic because of all of the other work I had been doing on myself up to that moment.
Gotcha.
So that moment, actually, it was full of difficulty, but the difficulty wasn't internalized. And when we don't internalize difficulty, and we remain in the surrender that you're talking about, right? We really can surprise ourselves with our own experience of the experience.
Beautifully said.
there is an arrest, being carted off to jail, handcuffed in a community where there are only 56 houses and I'm the only person of color living in that community. That's not how my ego would have wanted to be seen. But that day and that night were not about my ego. They were about the freedom of my soul.
Perfect. And this is the connection that you have to your innate self.
And that is the Little Book of Big Lies. It is told in 14 stories, and at the back of each story, at the end of each story, there are very specific to-dos.
Yes.
And that's because I was frustrated that in my journey into inner fitness, when I started my journey, there was no book like this for me. Right? And it really was frustrating that I could go and, church felt good, but when I left church, how could I hold on to and live from, the elevated state that the minister was talking from, or that the minister was in. And then I would, experience motivational speakers and have the same frustration. And so the Little Book of Big Lies is written so that the very specific things that we must begin to take note of, and then the very specific things that we begin to do as practices inside of ourselves, those things are laid out so that you know what to do.
Exactly. Because at the end of each chapter, it does come across like a workbook. Like this is the worksheet. You read something, you comprehend, and then it allows you to kind of digest everything that was read into something that is an action item almost.
That's right.
I found myself trying to think about what is the lie.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
so I think
right.
that was really
the
well
action that you can apply to your life that transforms who you have been up until now.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Now, lastly, Miss Tina Lifford. We're in Hollywood. You are a successful actress in the film industry.
Yes.
With the work that you're doing with the Little Book of Big Lies, the journey into
Inner fitness.
What kind of advice would you give the actress, pursuing this type of career that is not landing the roles that they want or not sort of finding success that they need? How would your book perhaps support their efforts?
Great question, and before I answer it, I'm just going to expand it just a tad, because it's not, whether you're an actor or singer wanting to pursue those careers. It's you having a dream of any size and wanting to fulfill it. So how do we do that? And the way in which we do that is, again, there's so little that you know about yourself. And we've heard it, and it's time for us to begin to trust the people who are saying it over and over and over again. So let me be another person who says that your thoughts, your feelings, your vision for your life, they all matter. And they matter to the soup that you are cooking called your life. And if you're not aware of how you are seasoning your life with your thoughts, if you're not aware of how you are seasoning your life with your actions, you think it doesn't matter that you've got war going on inside of you all the time, even if you can cover it up and hide it from the world. That inner war, that angst, that anger, it is seasoning the soup called your life. And so when it comes to you're wanting what you want for your life, you can want it just because you want it. Your job is to be accountable to what you say you want by creating an environment in which it can actually live and manifest.
I love that. So adding seasoning, adding the ingredients, taking out ingredients.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. If you're going after vegetable soup, don't put no meat in it.
No acidity up in this soup.
You know?
Yeah, very true.
No.
How's that for an analogy? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we have to dare to surrender to the idea of life having an innate giving quality so that we can dream our dreams and dare to believe that they are possible.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Miss Tina Lifford, I understand that you to be a successful actress, but you really do come across as a real higher being that is going to be very impactful for our society and our communities. It really is an honor to hear you speak and your perspective on this, because to me, it's very digestible. I understand it. The analogies make perfect sense, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being who you are. And as my mother would say, thank you for sharing your light. It's very, very impactful, and I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Oh.
Thank you.
Miss Tina Lifford. Here at Hello Fitness, we always play a game with our guests.
Okay.
So we're gonna play what we call the pyramid game. We have one category, 30 seconds on the clock, and I'm gonna give you a description of the move, and you have to try and guess this.
Okay, and my team can help me?
They can absolutely help you. We can call it a lifeline,
Okay.
a friend in need, whatever it need to be. Girl, if you know it.
I can let
Help her out.
y'all know right now I'm going to need a lifeline. Okay, go ahead. Go
All
ahead.
right, first move. Now in this move, you need to be laying on your stomach. You almost are mimicking a superhero. Someone knows it.
Plank.
Nope. Golly, this is a harder game for me. You need to contract your glutes, your back.
And lift up
And,
off.
Yes, and it's also named after a superhero. And I don't know. Wait. Yes. What is that?
Superman.
Yes! All right, next exercise. We did a bunch of these earlier in our little workout. It's a lower body workout. It could be done as a front something, a reverse something, a lateral something. And it starts with an L. Oh, yes. Someone said it. Someone said it back there.
Well, speak up.
All right.
Oh, okay, sorry. Lifeline. Lifeline. Lunge. Okay.
Lunge it is. Lunge it is. Okay, so this one here, and I guess Maureen, she's got the clock going. This one here is somewhat of like a big boy movement, right? There is something you lay on with a bar over your chest. Wait, I'm kind of mimicking it. That's charades, right? Wrong game. Wrong game. Right? And then you take this bar and elevate it above you.
Lifting?
Yes.
Weightlifting.
Press?
Yes.
Press.
What? Yes. No, you had it. I'm gonna give it to them. It's a bench press.
Okay.
press.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
It's that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is one of my favorite moves. Okay. So, clock is going. Again, this move, like I said earlier, I love to train lower body. This is a move that works the hamstrings and the glutes primarily. It involves a barbell in the front of you. You lift it up, set it back down. Starts with a D.
Ooh, lifeline.
A D?
D.
D.
It's like
Life.
this one.
Do we all know this one?
Dad.
Yeah, she knows it. She's
Deadlift.
deadlift.
What is it?
Deadlift.
All right.
Is like everyone's favorite one to hate, right? This involves a total body movement. Girl, you already said it. You already said it. Everybody hates this, right?
What was it? What was it?
It's
Like
called a burpees.
Burpees.
Yes, everyone hates those. Okay, this one here is my absolute favorite move. Not that you would know this.
It must be a lower body move.
There you go. Paying attention. Now, this one here works hamstrings, glutes, oh gosh, core. It requires a barbell on your back. You lower yourself and then stand up in the starting position.
Hey, squat. All right, squat.
Yeah.
About the barbell on the back.
You know what I'm learning?
On that one.
Oh, really?
on the back
Like,
like
it could
this?
be on the back, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, but then I
I
suppose it
see.
could be a front squat too, but yeah, you got it. This one here you do on your hands and on your toes, and you bring your chest close to the ground.
What was that?
Oh, and that makes our game.
Okay. Do you know what I've learned from this game?
What'd you learn?
It is really smart to roll with smart people.
That know their workout. Again, thank you so much. Thank you, Tina. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And guys, and that is Hello Fitness with me, with Lita Lewis.